What is up guys, Flashfire here, and today I am here to announce something very special. I will be your coach for the Hampshire Hawluchas in the Pokémon Fight Club Season 2. This is not a new league, but a league that I have joined along with Will, HDV, and Pokémon this season. It is primarily composed and run by Pixelmon tubers. All of them will be linked down below. But it is a draft-based league, very similar to the IEP or the GBA, with a couple of slight differences. So yeah, our team is going to be the Hampshire Hawluchas. We have a brand new logo over there, designed by Vinny or Super Gassy. His link will be down in the description if you guys want to go and check him out. He is a fantastic graphic designer and a great YouTuber. But I am super excited to be bringing you some more League play Pokemon. So as I said, this league is very similar to the IEP or the GBA in that it is a draft-based league, and each team will play each other, I think, once, and then we'll have playoffs and all this kind of stuff. I'm not entirely sure how the competition itself will work, but I will explain how the draft worked for you guys right now. So basically, everyone involved got to draft their own Mega, which was great because obviously a Mega is a very powerful Mon, and it gives us a chance to pick up some stuff that we think is important for the rest of the competition and all this kind of stuff. Now, the rest of the draft was completely randomized. So each of us received 3 OU, 3 UU, 3 RU, 2 NU, and 2 PU Mons that were completely random. We had no influence over what they were, which makes this draft very exciting. It's really cool, I think, because you get to pick your Mega, which is obviously a very powerful Mon, and then you have to adapt your playstyle to suit the random Mons that you got thrown. Some people have got some really interesting teams, but the way trading is going to work is you're allowed to trade Mons with each other, tier for tier, so you can trade OU for OU and so on. But we're only allowed to trade after the first week of battles is over. So the first week, we have to battle with the team that we were given, and then from there on out, we can change the team and improve it and all this kind of stuff. So uploads-wise, this league is going to work on the basis of 1 video per week. It's going to be 1 battle every week on a Thursday. If you guys want to see me upload a team building video for this league, let me know down in the comments, and that will mean that Thursday is a double upload where we do the team builder and the battle. But yeah, this is going to be a very exciting league, and I'm super hyped to get into this. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm going to go over my draft for you. We're going to introduce you to the Hampshire Hawluchas for Season 2 of the Pokemon Fight Club. So, like I said guys, we all got to draft 1 Mega. That means that the Mega is the only one that I had any influence over in this draft, whether I got it or not. Now, I am very happy with my Mega pick. In my opinion, the 3 most powerful Megas in draft format are Mega Metagross, Mega Latios, and Mega Latias. Now, Mega Metagross I feel is slightly stronger than the 2 Latis, but then the 2 Latis are roughly tied for power, I think. So Will unfortunately drafted first, damn you, and he got to pick up Mega Metagross, which was unfortunate for me, but I still managed to snag Mega Latios, which I think is a fantastic Mon in this format. There is so much potential for this Mon in League format. It's crazy good. Its speed, its bulk, and its offenses are so on point. I believe it hits 80 HP, 100 defense, 120 special defense, and then it gets 130 attack and 160 special attack, which is crazy. It also has, you know, a crazy good special move pool, a decent physical move pool, and some really nice supportive moves. It gives me a guaranteed defogger. It also gets access to Memento, which is interesting, Screens, and Weather, which is obviously great. And then, finally, it gets access to some really scary boosting moves. Obviously, it has a really nice speed tier already, and it gets access to Calm Mind, which is fantastic. Sub-Calm Mind sets are definitely a thing with this Mon. It gets Dragon Dance if it wasn't scary enough already. Just like, oh my god, there are so many possible sets for this guy in this format. It's absolutely crazy. Plus, it gets a reliable form of recovery in Roost. So, like, it's just such a good Mon. Yeah, I really think this guy has a lot of potential in this format, and I'm really happy that I got to pick it up. So from there, we're going to go on to our OU picks, guys. The first, well, I say picks, our OU Mons. Our first OU Mon that we got was actually Scizor, which I am super happy about. This Mon is pretty versatile, and it's just a really solid OU Mon as it goes. Like, it has a really nice move pool, supportive and offensive. It has decent bulk, great typing, only 1 weakness, obviously. There are a number of potential sets you can run on this guy. You can run SD, it can be a sweeper, you can run Band, Life Orb, Lefties, Defog is an option. It also gives us a nice bit of pivoting with the U-turn, so we can pivot into our Lati so it doesn't take damage, all this kind of stuff. Gives us access to a powerful pursuit user if we want to trap bulky psychic types to make Lati's life a bit easier. It's just a really nice mon. It also gets agility, which, you know, maybe that could be a thing. And its 4x fire weakness isn't actually awful in this context. We do have some synergy with a 4x fire weakness, which seems weird, but we'll get into that later. Now, the next mon we're going to go over is Zygarde. This is our second OU mon. It's an interesting poke. Obviously, that gives us our second dragon type. It means our draft is relatively weak to ice at the moment. It's our second 4x weakness as well, which isn't ideal. But this guy gets a decent move pool. He gets some really nice boosting moves in Dragon Dance and Coil. He's got decent bulk, as I said. He gets access to priority and extreme speed, which is crazy good. The only bad thing about this guy is that he doesn't get Dragon Claw. And all of his boosting moves boost his physical attack, but he doesn't get Dragon Claw. He gets Dragon Tail and Outrage, and then like Dragon Rush if you want to do that. But I don't know, it's weird. So it's definitely a good mon to have in the format. Like, it's nice and bulky, it gets lots of opportunity to set up, and it gets great priority, but it's slightly strange, it's slightly different. We're gonna have to play it a little bit differently, which is interesting. It's also a ground type, which is great. Stab Earthquake, always good no matter how you're playing. So, you know, it definitely has potential in the format, and I would not sleep on it if I were my opponents. So the final one we got in OU is going to be Klefki, Happy Keys, just like, this mon is so frustrating to play against. It's nice as well because it gives us a fairy type, does give us a second steel type, a bit of an extra fire weakness, which is not ideal, but I feel like Klefki is a pretty good supportive mon. Obviously, we get Prankster on there, which is real good for a supportive mon, certainly. We get Prankster, Thunderwave, Spikes, Magnet Rise, Switcheroo, and Screens are the notable moves we've got on there. So there's definite potential for this guy to set up sweeps for other mons on my team, set up the screens, pivot out, and then have something set up behind the screens. Always fantastic. Gives us an extra ground immunity as well, if kind of a pseudo ground immunity in Magnet Rise. Obviously we have Levitate on the Lati. So it's a pretty decent mon to have. It is slightly passive, but it has ways to punish mons that want to set up on it in Thunderwave and Foul Play. So it's not the end of the world. Okay, so now it's time to go over our UU mons. Now this is where the 4x fire weakness has synergy with the team that I mentioned earlier. We got Arcanine as our first UU pick, which obviously gets Flashfire, and is great to pair with Mega Sizzle, or not Mega Sizzle, regular Sizzle, because obviously opponents are going to be wanting to go for fire moves on him, and you can pull the switch into Arcanine and get Flashfire boost. Hooray! It's also really nice to get a fire type on the team for offense and defense purposes. Arcanine is a real team player, man. He's an all-rounder. It's fantastic. He can be used offensively, he can be used defensively, because obviously he gets Intimidate, and then he has a decent attack stat, a decent special attack stat, so you can do all kinds of stuff. He also gets a good supportive move pool, good offensive move pool, which is great. He gets reliable recovery in Morning Sun. He has access to Will-O-Wisp, Extreme Speed, again, another Extreme Speed user, which I'm very happy with. It's just a really nice mon to have around. Obviously, there's potential for stuff like Fire, Water, Grass calls going on here. Unfortunately, we didn't get any other water or grass types, but maybe one day we'll have a Fire, Water, Grass call. Maybe we'll try to trade into one. That's the plan, anyway. But yeah, I'm really happy with this as a UU pick. It's a very good mon to have on the team. And our next mon is going to be the monster that is Haxorus. This does give us another dragon type, which is interesting. It means we have 3 weaknesses to ice, 3 weaknesses to fairy, all this kind of stuff. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to do something about that. But this guy is a ridiculously strong wall breaker. He has 147 attack and 97 speed. It also gets access to Swords Dance and Dragon Dance. So if I'm up against a slow draft, I can bring Swords Dance. If I'm up against a fast draft, I can bring Dragon Dance. And just hopefully wreck some souls with this guy. He also gets access to Mold Breaker, so we are having none of that Levitate rubbish. Rotom, I'm looking at you. This guy is going to be an asset, I think, to the Hampshire Hawluchas. Massive wall breaker, fantastic. Okay, so our last UU mon is going to be regular Gardevoir, which is really cool. I completely forgot this guy dropped to UU, and it's it's a really cool mon to have, I think. It gives us another Psychic type and another Fairy type, which is good. It means if we trade away Klefki, we still have a Fairy type, or if we trade away Gardevoir, we still have a Fairy type, all this kind of stuff. It has a really decent special attack, really decent special bulk, and it gets such a good supportive move pool. It's actually crazy. As well as access to Trace. Trace has so much potential. It has so much potential. You can trace Flashfire and switch in on fire moves. You can trace Lightning Rod and switch in on electric moves. You can trace Magnet Pull from Magnezone and trap and kill it. Like, there's so much stuff you can do with Trace. I absolutely love Trace. And the supporting move pool of this guy is crazy. It gets Trick, it gets Heal Belt, it gets Willow, it gets Destiny Bond, it gets Encore, it gets Memento, and it gets Taunt. Like, all of these are fantastic moves that can be put to very good use in this league, so I'm super excited about that. And then finally, it gets really good boosting moves. It has access to Calm Mind, and it has great coverage. Like, it's just a great mon to have. I'm super happy that I picked this guy up. I really am. Now, this next mon is possibly one of my favorite in my draft. We got Exploud as our first RU pick, guys. The Boombox himself. This guy is such a high value mon for RU. If you slap specs on this guy, nothing switches in. Like, Boomburst 2-hit KOs so many things. It's crazy. It's crazy how many things Boomburst 2-hit KOs. Plus, you get Soundproof, so if anyone picks up a Sylveon or Mega Gardevoir, we can switch into those. Hyper Voice, which is great. And then, what was the final thing? Oh, it gets Scrappy as well, so even the Ghost types aren't safe from the power that is Boomburst. I'm so excited about this mon. It's a really high value pick. Our second RU pick is actually going to be our second normal type on the team, which is very interesting. This guy is a bit of a glass cannon. We got Ambipom. Now, like I said, he is a bit of a glass cannon, but he's a fantastic lead. And hits like a truck. We got Technician Fake Out on there if we want it. We got Technician Double Hit. And just, it gets some really decent physical coverage. I think it gets access to Taunt, also gets U-Turn, the Elemental Punches, Knockoff, all this kind of stuff. There's obviously scope for running the Fake Out Last Resort set, all this kind of stuff. It's just a really nice one to have. It's nice and offensive. So, if played correctly, it could wreak havoc on opponents' teams. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, second normal type gives us a bit more of a fighting weakness, but I think we can work around it. We do have plenty of fighting resists on the team, so we should be okay. And then the final mon that we picked up in RU was Dugtrio. Now, this guy is a very interesting mon in the format, I think. It's a bit of a one-trick pony. Obviously, its gimmicky thing is Arena Trap. Basically, you design this guy to take out one specific mon and use it to do that, and then it doesn't really do much else. But that's not the end of the world. It does get access to some decent supportive moves in Stealth Rock and Memento. It also gets Sucker Punch, which is cool for priority and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the main way to play Dugtrio, I believe, in this format is to pick something that you don't want your opponent to have, and then use Dugtrio to take it out, and that's just it. That's just you for Dugtrio. So, it's a pretty good mon, but, yeah, kind of only does one thing. And that leads us on to NU, where we only have 2 picks. We only have 2 mons in NU. Now, our first one is going to be Skuntank, which is very interesting. It has a cool typing. It's Poison Dark, which is interesting. And it's also our third Defogger, which is really nice because it gives us lots of options for the team. It means we can bring Scizor, Latios, and this guy on the same team, and it means we can run much more offensive sets on Latios and Scizor and still have Hazards Removal, which is fantastic. This also gets, you know, decent physical and special coverage. You get access to stuff like Flamethrower and Sucker Punch, which is great. It's a Taunter, it gets Pursuit, and it has a really decent HP stat. It hits 103 HP, which is nice, and 84 speed is also not too shabby. So there's definite potential for this guy to be kind of just like a nice bulky defogging sponge on the team, and I'm really excited to get to using him. Never used it before, so should be pretty fun. And the second pick in NU is going to be Malamar. Now, this guy is, again, very interesting. It does give us another Dark type. It does give us another Psychic type. So it's not that great for our draft, but it definitely has potential as a sweeper. You've got lots of options. You can, obviously, Contrary Superpower is so good, because you're hitting with a 120 power move and boosting your attack and defense by 1. what's not to love? It has potential as a Scarfer and as a Trick Room user. Scarfer is made more viable by the fact that it also gets Switcheroo, so you can do stuff and then Switcheroo a Scarf onto a wall or something like that. It also gets access to Destiny Bond and Taunt, so if we weren't running a Choice Scarf set, those would be very useful. Obviously, Destiny Bond is also usable on the Choice Scarf set. And it gets access to decent physical and special moves. So you could actually run a special spread on this guy. Obviously, you don't get the benefit of the contrary superpower, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. And I think I've said this already, but it is a good Trick Room mod. Obviously, it's not the slowest thing in the world, but it's decently slow to the point where it does work on a Trick Room, so that's an option. Unfortunately, it is 4 times weak to U-turn, though. The typing is not great, so I don't know. Definitely a very viable mon. It's just you got to find the right place for it on the team, I think. And then finally, to end off the draft, we have our last 2 PU mons. Now, the first of our PU picks, I'm actually so excited about. It's Volby, which doesn't sound exciting, because, you know, its typing and its stats aren't that great, but it gets Prankster. Okay? And just hear me out here, okay? It gets Prankster, it gets Baton Pass, and it gets Tail Glow. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it gets Tail Glow. It also gets Encore Screens, Tailwind, Sub, Thunderwave, Toxic, Trick, Weather, U-Turn. More importantly, Baton Pass Tail Glow. I'm so excited to see if I can pull that off. That's just going to be incredible. Like, +3 Latios, yes please. It's crazy. For a PU pick, that's actually not even bad. I'm really happy with this mon. And then the final mon on the draft is going to be Dodrio. We got both. Is there more than 2? Are there more than 2 things with 3 heads? I guess Hydreigon has 3 heads. Will got Hydreigon. But Dodrio, 3 heads. Dugtrio, 3 heads. What can you do? But this guy is not a bad one. He has decent attack, decent speed. Access to agility, Brave Bird, quick attack. So some nice priority, some nice speed. It gets good dual stab in Brave Bird and Double Edge. And it definitely has potential as like a band user or a scarf user or something like that. It's a very nice mon to have. So yeah, guys, that's the draft. There's definitely some mons that I'm going to be looking to trade away and try and improve the draft, but I feel like we got a really great core of some pretty solid pokes. Certainly, I think this is certainly in the top half of the drafts, which is really nice. Something that you should note is Will got a particularly scary draft. I think he got Mega Metagross, Keldeo, and Hydreigon, which is the most terrifying offensive core in the world, and I'm super scared to be playing him. But yeah, there's some really interesting drafts, and if you guys want to go and check out all the other teams' draft analysis videos, I'm sure they will be being uploaded to their channels, which will all be linked down in the description if you want to go and check them out. As I said, HDV, Pokemon, and Makati are going to be part of it, as are a bunch of other guys who I've only just met as I joined the league, who mostly do Pixelmon, so if you want to go and check them out, absolutely go and do that. But yeah, that's the draft, guys. I would love to hear what you think of it down in the comments, and I would love to know your vote for MVP of the season. Personally, I'm thinking Latios. I don't know. It could be different, but I would love to know who you think is going to be the MVP for this season. And remember to smash that like button if you're excited to see the Hampshire Hawluchas win this competition. Yeah, I said it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I can feel it. I don't care how good Will's draft is. We're going to do it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next Thursday for week 1 of the Pokemon Fight Club.